Facebook vanishes from the internet for 6 hours. A DevOps Postmortem. It's 1540 UTC on October 4, 2021, and the internet just got a lot quieter. In an instant, the backbone of the modern social web doesn't just flicker, it vanishes. Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp go dark simultaneously, cutting off billions of users from their primary way of connecting with the world. This wasn't a localized glitch or a minor hiccup. It was a total blackout that lasted for roughly 6 hours. For those of us watching the monitors turn red, the scale was staggering. It wasn't just a down status page. The very roots that defined the platform's existence on the global internet were being pulled back like a disappearing act. When your internal tools go dark and your physical access becomes the only way out, you aren't just fighting a bug anymore, you're fighting to reclaim your own infrastructure from the void. This is how one routine maintenance command can bring a titan to its knees. Imagine it's October 4, 2021. You're scrolling through your feed when suddenly the digital world just stops. We aren't talking about a minor glitch or a slow loading screen. We are talking about Meta, the house that Facebook built. For roughly 6 hours, the entire ecosystem of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp went dark for users across the globe. This wasn't just a localized hiccup. It was a total blackout of their backbone connections. To put that in perspective, these services aren't just websites. They are the primary communication hubs for billions of people. When those core roots vanished, even internal tools became unreachable, leaving the engineers in the trenches with very few ways to see what was happening. It was a massive, systemic failure, where the very pipes carrying the world's data simply stopped flowing, turning one of the most complex networks on Earth into a ghost town. It was October 4, 2021, and for Meta, it started as just another day of routine maintenance. The systems were humming along, handling the massive global traffic flow that keeps Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp alive. Everything seemed stable until a specific command was issued, a routine task designed to assess backbone capacity. In a perfect storm of human error and technical oversight, this command didn't just test the limits, it actually disconnected the entire backbone. Usually, a protective audit tool acts as the safety net, catching these kinds of oops moments before they go live. But on this day, a bug in that very audit tool let the command slide through undetected. It was the ultimate fail-safe failure. The system didn't just glitch, it effectively unplugged itself from the world, setting the stage for a total blackout that would leave millions of users staring at blank screens and broken links. It started like any other routine maintenance window on October 4, 2021. At approximately 1540 UTC, a single command intended to assess backbone capacity hit the system. In a perfect storm of technical debt, a protective audit bug failed to flag the instruction, and instead of a simple test, it effectively severed all of Facebook's backbone connections. Within minutes, the fallout was catastrophic. As the backbone went dark, DNS servers automatically withdrew their BGP routes, essentially telling the rest of the internet that Facebook didn't exist. Almost instantly, the doors slammed shut just for the public, but for the engineers too. Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp vanished from global reach, while internal tools became unreachable. What began as a routine check turned into a total blackout, where even the team's own navigation systems were stripped away, leaving them blind in a rapidly darkening digital landscape. It started with a routine maintenance command, a simple check of backbone capacity, that turned into a nightmare. Because of a bug in the audit tool designed to catch human error, the system let the command fly, instantly severing all of Facebook's backbone connections at approximately 15 UTC on October 4, 2021. This was the first domino. Once the backbone went dark, the DNS servers reacted exactly as programmed. They withdrew their BGP advertisements. In an instant, the entire network became a ghost town. Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp didn't just glitch, they vanished from the global internet. The failure cascaded into the internal infrastructure too, crippling the very tools the engineers needed to diagnose the problem or even access the systems remotely. For roughly 6 hours, the team was flying blind in a total blackout until they were forced to physically enter data centers to restore the backbone and begin the slow crawl back to life. So, here is where the ghost in the machine actually manifested. It started with a routine maintenance command designed to assess backbone capacity. But instead of just gathering data, it acted like a digital sledgehammer, severing all of Facebook's backbone connections. Usually, there are guardrails for this kind of heavy lifting, but a specific bug in the protective audit tool failed to flag the command as dangerous. This allowed the execution to proceed unchecked until 1540 UTC. Once that backbone went dark, the DNS servers reacted exactly as programmed. They withdrew their BGP advertisements because they couldn't see the paths. In an instant, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp vanished from the global map. The real nightmare was the domino effect. Because the network was gone, even the internal tools meant to fix the problem became unreachable, leaving the engineers flying blind in a total communications blackout for roughly 6 hours. Imagine waking up to a ghost town. On October 4, 2021, the digital doors slammed shut for Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp simultaneously. It wasn't just a minor glitch. It was a total blackout of the core backbone. For roughly 6 hours, the entire ecosystem went dark, effectively vanishing from the global internet. This wasn't just a localized hiccup, it crippled internal tools as well, leaving engineers essentially flying blind in the middle of the storm. When those BGP routes were pulled, the blast radius swallowed everything. From the moment that maintenance command slipped through at 1540 UTC until the physical intervention finished at 2150 UTC, the reach was absolute. Every user and every internal system became a casualty of a failed audit bug. It's the kind of total systemic failure that doesn't just hurt your metrics, it erases your presence from the map. At 1540 UTC on October 4, 2021, the lights didn't just flicker, they went out completely. A routine maintenance command designed to test backbone capacity hit a catastrophic bug in the audit tool that was supposed to act as the ultimate safety net. It failed. Within minutes, DNS servers withdrew their BGP routes, and suddenly, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp were ghosts on the global map. The real nightmare started when the team realized their internal tools, the very systems they used to fix things, were also unreachable because the backbone was dead. They weren't just fighting a software bug, they were locked out of their own house. For roughly 6 hours, the only way forward was physical. Engineers had to get boots on the ground at data centers to manually restore the backbone. It was a grueling, manual grind till 2150 UTC when the connection finally stabilized and services began to crawl back online. The fix wasn't a simple remote command or a quick script execution. It was a grueling physical grind. Because the BGP routes had vanished and internal tools were toast, the team had to physically enter data centers to manually restore the backbone. It took hours of hands-on intervention to get things moving again. Once they finally regained connectivity at 2150 UTC on October 4th, they couldn't just flip a switch. They had to carefully phase services back online to prevent a massive surge of traffic from crushing the recovering infrastructure. To make sure this nightmare never repeated, Meta overhauled their maintenance, tooling with much stricter guardrails, and redesigned their recovery procedures. The biggest takeaway: they realized that if your backdoor for emergencies depends on the very network that just went dark, you don't have a backdoor, you have a trap. They moved toward out-of-band access to ensure they'd never be locked out of their own house again. Look, if there's one thing this disaster taught us, it's that a safety net is only useful if the net actually has holes in it. The audit tool was supposed to be the fail-safe, but because of a bug in that very system, it let a single maintenance command gut the backbone and drop those BGP routes. When you're staring at a total blackout lasting 6 hours, you realize how dangerous circular dependencies really are. If your recovery tools rely on the same network that just went dark, you're essentially locked out of your own house. The team learned the hard way that when the backbone vanishes, you need out-of-band access, a literal physical key to the kingdom. You can't fix a global blackout from a remote terminal if the routers aren't talking to anyone. Build your guardrails correctly, test them until they break, and always keep a manual override for when the digital world goes silent. That's how Meta, Facebook, turned a very bad day into a lesson. If this saved you an outage, subscribe for the next postmortem.